I never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm
Hello guys, what's up? We're live again here on Primo Modelo TV, your online channel. My name is 𝐐𝐒𝐄𝐄𝐍'𝑒 and we're live again here. And for today's episode is another new interesting panel discussion to be led and moderated by one and only MARIEL PRION, the Miss Teen Glam International 2020. And by the way, she will be joined together with other panel speakers all the way from South Africa, Canada, and the Philippines, and that is JANNICE MACGREGOR, the Miss Regal World 2020, ARIANE ABARIDES, the Miss Teen Glam Philippines 2020 second runner-up, and also Leandrie Matthews from South Africa, the Miss Teenager South Africa finalist of 2020. And once again, don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel and click the share button of this live episode so you can catch up more of our updates and upcoming pretty panel discussions and also other interviews. And if you're not shy enough to do a live show here on Primo Modelo TV, don't hesitate to message us here on our Facebook page or Instagram. We are pretty alive and active on our social media accounts. Don't hesitate, it's all free, guys. And anyways, I would also like to thank another new business partner, the Belle Epoque Events Management, all the way from Sydney, Australia. Congratulations, Madam Belle, and hope to see you in person. And she will be running and producing another new exciting event in Sydney, Australia. That will be the Australian Fashion Preview. Yes, congratulations. And also the Woman of the Year Excellence Awards based in Sydney, Australia. And coming up next, that will be in the future to be an international awardings for all the women advocates out there. And anyway, guys, before I forget, happy Women's Month. Tomorrow will be the Women's Day, March 8th, and that will be my birthday as well. So happy birthday to me. And all right, I will be right back and introduce to you the interesting part of this show, the panel discussion entitled Queen's Conference, Stronger Together, #Women Empowerment.
I never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm
right, guys, we're live again here, back in Primo Modelo TV, your online channel, and we're live on our YouTube channel, Primo Modelo TV, and also on our official Facebook page, the Primo Modelo TV. Oh my God. Okay, I'm just kind of nervous right now
Hello,
because you know what,
everyone.
my birthday was totally the exact same day of the Women's Day. So I'm pretty proud with Mariel. You know, she led this beautiful panel discussion. I'm pretty sure that everyone, especially all the women out there, we're gonna try to listen out here. And before I forget, please do click the share button because I know a lot of women out there would hopefully use this as a relevant topic to listen to. Anyway, I am together now with Mariel PRION, the Miss Teen Glam International 2020. Hello, Mariel. How are you?
Hi everyone, good evening. Happy
All
Women's
right.
Month to all of the ladies out there and advance happy birthday, Ate Mia.
Thank you so much, Mariel, and hope to see you soon again on our next project in person. Anyway, Mariel, I would like to ask you this question. Why are you wearing color blue when in fact red or pink was mostly the color that was it is the color that mostly
Associated to women.
represents the women and the girls, yes. But why do
Yeah.
you wear blue today?
Well, I wore blue today because I want to start off this panel discussion by challenging our societal standards because this is what women empowerment is all about. It's about questioning reality and questioning our values, our culture, and really to bring change into our society. So that's why I'm wearing blue to say to everyone that um, there's no color that actually represents women. All colors are for everyone. You can go for blue, for red, for black. It doesn't matter really.
All right, that's what the answer I am waiting for. This is the reason why this panel discussion will be brought to you by Mariel PRION to open the eyes of all women, girls, mothers, and whoever you are, as long as you have
Yeah.
the gender as a woman. Yes. And by the way, Mariel, who will be together with us today? Who did you invite for this panel discussion this time?
I invited three of my sister queens. As you can see, we're not four right now. There's no four or five guests for tonight because we just really want to center and focus on their thoughts and ideas. So for our first guest, we have Miss Leandri Matthews. She's from South Africa, and last December she was our special guest for the Christmas special of Primo Modelo TV. And our
All
second
right.
guest is Miss
Mm-hmm.
Janice MacGregor, who's from Canada, and she is the reigning Miss Regal World 2020 to 2021. And
Mm-hmm.
lastly, we have our very own Teen Glam Philippine sister. She is ARIANE ABARIDES, all the way from Cardona, Rizal. So she's also here with us tonight.
Okay, and in this panel discussion, who are you focusing to reach on to by bringing up this topic? Queen's Conference, Stronger Together, hashtag Women Empowerment.
Yeah. The focus or the audience focus actually is everyone, all genders. You're all welcome to watch and participate because women empowerment and feminism actually advocates for everyone. It's not just women really. When you talk about feminism, back then I thought it was just all about that, all about girls, our rights. But when I did a report about feminism a month ago or 2 months ago, I realized that feminism is actually all about everyone. It includes everyone for all genders.
Okay, and now let us welcome the panel speakers, starting with Janice MacGregor from Canada. Good evening, Janice from the Philippines. Hello.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm very
Good
Yes,
honored
morning.
to be in this
it's
discussion.
our pleasure, and we are excited to know more about you here in the panel discussion. Anyway, Janice,
Thank
would you
you.
like to introduce yourself with us today first?
Sure. Well, first of all, I'd like to say happy birthday in advance.
Thank you so much.
Also, thank you again for having me. I'd like to thank Primo Modelo for having this discussion in the first place. And Mariel, thank you so much for inviting me. So, as stated, my name is Janice MacGregor, and I am from Canada. I represented the country of Guyana in the Miss Regal World pageant, and I was very honored to win. Mariel, you were talking about why you were wearing blue, and I guess it's not really visible, but I'm wearing a purple tank top under this because purple is the color for justice and equality.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yes, amazing. And also purple represents the regal, the glamour of women out there. Anyway,
That's true.
thank you
That's
so
very
much.
true.
Yes, thank you so much, Janice. And next panel speaker is from the Philippines, Ariane Abarides, the Miss Teen Glam Philippines 2020 second runner-up. Hello, Ariane. How are you today?
Hello everyone, I'm fine actually. I'm really excited for this panel discussion because I have a lot of thoughts and stories to share to everyone.
Now's our time to shine, ladies.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure this topic will be exciting because, you know, we're going to talk about all girls talk. And I know some of the boys out there are going to react. And I'm waiting for that on the comment section below. And yes, before I forget, to all our viewers out there, especially the boys, you are all welcome to voice out your opinions, your comments, or if you have questions directly to one of our panel speakers, you can comment down below and we'll put it down on the screen, just like this one. Hello to Joanna Pauline Guerrero. Go, Ariane. Hello. All right. And to Miss Sally Danka, her daughter is the Miss Teen Glam Philippines third runner-up 2020. That was joined as well from the last panel discussion of Mariel. Congratulations, Jelly. All right, guys. The next panel speaker will be, yes, our beautiful Leandre Matthews from South Africa. Hello, Leandre.
Hi.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. How are all of you?
Yes,
Doing
we
great.
are all excited. Anyway, Leandre, introduce yourself with us.
Good day, everyone from around the world, I believe. My name is Leandrie Matthews. I'm 19 years old, and I'm currently a Miss Teenager South Africa 2020 finalist. I'm so happy to be here today. It's my second time on PrimoModeloTV, and I'm so excited just to discuss women empowerment today.
All right, okay. And anyway, Leandre was also from the last interview, right, Mariel, from one of the Beyond the Crown series here on PrimoModeloTV last year. Yes, Christmas edition. Anyway, Mariel, I'm going to leave this right up to you, and I hope to all the viewers out there you'd enjoy this panel discussion as we celebrate the Women's Month and the Women's Day tomorrow. And happy Women's Day and month to all women out there, whether you are a girl, mother, granny, auntie, sister, or whatever you are. I hope you have a lovely day, everyone. Anyway, Mariel, it's up to you now.
Hello and good day to everyone, and welcome to our third panel discussion entitled Queen's Conference Stronger Together, #Women Empowerment. And for tonight, we'll be discussing what is women empowerment all about, what are the struggles that we have faced as women here in society, and lastly, what advice and message could we give to everyone who is watching right now, and of course, to all the women out there. And to start our panel discussion, I would first like to give some general reminders. So number one, panel speakers are given 5 to 7 minutes to share their insights per question. Number two, for a smooth flow of the talk, the panel speakers will take turns in speaking in this order. So the first to speak is Miss Janice MacGregor, and the second one is Miss Ariane Abarides, and third is Miss Leandrie Matthews. Number 3, to all the viewers, if you have any questions for our panel speakers, kindly post it on the comment section below, and your questions will be entertained after the event proper. Thank you so much. And fourth, after the third question, we will have a 5-minute break. So it'll be our time to drink some water or retouch our makeup or whatever you want to do. And lastly, number 5, to avoid any interruptions, all panel speakers, please turn off your microphones if it is not yet your turn to speak. Alright, so now let's move on to the most awaited part of this, which is the event proper. Let's first start with this question. What is women empowerment all about? So, Ms. Janice, you may proceed.
Thank you. So, my thoughts on empowerment are that it's a continuum. It's a continual process of growth. We tend to look at things in a black and white kind of way. We see something or someone as being empowered or not empowered, empowering or not empowering. But I think that as individuals, the process of becoming an empowered person, whether you're male or female, is a lifelong process. And this idea of empowerment, I find that it differs from person to person, because something that I find empowering might not be empowering to someone else. And one example that I can think of is I have friends who choose to wear a hijab, and some people look at them and think, oh, wow, she's really oppressed. But really, my friends are choosing to wear that. It's a form of their cultural expression. And an example of that would be that supermodel, Halima. She was a pageant girl. She became a supermodel. She was in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. And when she competed in pageants, she wore a hijab. And when she was in Sports Illustrated, she wore a burkini. Now, this is a woman who is well off. She's financially stable. She's beautiful. And I don't think anyone would argue that she's not empowered, even though she's always dressed conservatively. For me, empowerment is ownership of myself and choosing how I present myself. So it's claiming ownership of my life, my choices, who I share my life with, and it's being my own advocate, because in the end, no one's going to advocate for me more strongly than I advocate for myself. Lending to that, it also means being an advocate for people who do not have a voice, but not taking the spotlight from them. Basically handing them the microphone and letting them speak for themselves. Going back to what I said about empowerment being a continuum, when we look at people who are empowered and people who we perceive as being empowered, those people will have moments where they don't feel empowered. And to anyone watching this, I want to just let you know that if you don't feel empowered, if you're feeling a moment where you just don't feel in control of your life, or you're not feeling your strongest, that's not a weakness. That doesn't mean that you're not empowered. It means that you're having a moment of vulnerability, and that's a part of being human. So the process of becoming empowered means embracing all of our human nature, even the things that we may consider negative or disempowering. And that's what empowerment means to me.
Thank you so much, Ms. Janice. And I do agree when you said that women empowerment is also advocating for it, because actually 2 months ago we did a report on feminism. It was a part of my subject under sociology. And when you mentioned that it's about advocating for feminism, I agree with that, because women empowerment actually falls under feminism. It is a part of it. And for me, just to share to everyone, when we talk about women empowerment, it is actually the result of all of the things that we as women are experiencing. And we are all coming together to voice it out. And feminism is knowing that we are all undergoing the same situation, even if we're from different countries, even if we came from different places, our experiences will also have similarities. And in a way, if we combine all of those experiences together, that creates a story. And when you have a story, you share it with people. And when you share it, you inspire them. And when you do, at the end, you empower them. So thank you so much, Miss Janice. And now let's move on to Miss Ariane.
Hello. Well, for me, women empowerment is promoting our sense of self-worth. When I say self-worth, it is how we value ourselves. And most of the time, I hear a lot of girls that are going after a guy after a breakup. When the reality is, we can have more. We can have a guy that is more than what we think they are. And women empowerment for me is the ability to influence other females in making our own choices and decisions in life, in making a difference or a positive change in our society. By what I mean about this is when we challenge the gender norms or the gender roles in our society. Nowadays, a lot of women are acting up as the father of the family, because here in the Philippines, single parent is very relevant. So there are a lot of females, a lot of mothers that are raising up their children all by themselves. And I experienced that firsthand, because my mom raised me up all by herself. She taught me how to become independent, and she taught me how to become a stronger person that I am right now. And that is women empowerment. But through this, we can have equal rights and privileges in different aspects that us women have been lacking for a very long time. And like what Miss Universe 2019, Zozibini Tunzi stated, there is nothing wrong in taking up space in our society. Everyone can lead our country. Everyone can be who they wanted to be, especially the younger girls out there, the younger generation who dreamt about challenging the gender norms in the workforce. So if men can do it, us women can do it as well, or maybe even better. Because I've seen a lot of women. I've heard a lot of stories that women can do a lot more things, a lot greater things than men can do. And we have been underrepresented and discriminated for a very long time. That's why we need to empower and uplift every woman, every female, so that our voices can be heard, for us to have equal rights in the economy, the society, education, or even in politics. That's all.
Thank you, Ariane, for sharing your thoughts and ideas about women empowerment. And you are right, because women empowerment is all about challenging the gender norms or gender roles, and we will get to that later for the second part of our discussion. We will dive into that. And for our third speaker, Miss Leandri Matthews, please go ahead.
Okay, so to me, hear me? Okay, so to me, women empowerment is definitely the process of empowering women. If we split women and empowerment, so if we look at being a woman, it's not just being a female, but it's also being a human as well. And I think people forget about that. People just look at gender as just gender, but we forget that both men and women, we are all human. It's universal. And if we look at empowerment, it's actually giving the freedom of what you want to do. So freedom of maybe your self-worth, being confident in who you are, having the freedom to do what you're most passionate about, or having the freedom to let your voice be heard. Because I think that nowadays in society, the lack of freedom, it's so scarce, because a lot of women are so afraid to speak up because they're scared that they're going to be judged, or they're scared that they are going to be hurt, or they are scared that people are just going to put them down because they don't believe the same thing as we do as women. So I think women empowerment is very, very important in society, not only for women in general, but for the younger generation. They need to see, how can I say, they need to see that women is a strong pillar, because I think that we have been oppressed now, because if you look at gender-based violence, it's happening all around the world, and it's just because women just feel so small compared to men. And I'm not saying that it's men, it's not your fault. It's just that what society has defined us to be, that we are just small beings and we have no worth in our society. So I believe that women empowerment should really be instilled in our society, just that the younger generation can just know that they are enough and that they are worth more than gold.
Oh, sorry. All right, guys, as I cover up for Mariel Prion, I think she's having trouble with her internet connection. I totally agree with Leandre's opinion, and as well as Ariane, and as well as with Janice. And hopefully Janice can get back here on our stream link. I have a question for you two girls, just to okay. Here is my question. Do you think that boys and girls should be equal, or boys should be ahead of us girls, or women or girls should be ahead of boys? So this is only an opinion. So to all the viewers out there, please do not take this as a hard part. This is going to be only opinions with the ladies out here, our panel speakers. Let's start with Leandre.
Okay, I think boys and girls should definitely be equal. I believe that no one should be higher than the next person, because we are all individual people and we should all live by that. We all have different opinions about different things. We all have our own dreams. We all have our own aspirations. So it's not in a sense that boys should maybe be more ahead of females because maybe they are seen as more of the superior side of things. But I think it goes hand in hand. Men, yes, they have authority, they are superior, but yet women, we have similar things as well. We have to carry a baby when we are pregnant, or we have to look after children, we have to cook food. There's still a lot, and if you compare the two, they are both equal. So I really don't think that there should be a scale. I think it needs to be more balanced and equal.
All right, balance and equal as a conclusion to your answer. How about you, Aryan? What do you think is should be?
Well, I think it should be girls and boys should be equal because we are all
Okay.
humans. God created us equally. We are all created perfectly imperfect, and I think it's time to break the society
The
what the
stigma.
society is,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
that our society labeled us women as to be the weaker species of humans, and it is enough for that because throughout the time, women already proven that we are also powerful in our
Yes.
different terms.
All right, thank you so much, Aryan. And I'm going to ask this question as well to Janice to complete the question and answer of this short break time of my as I cover up for Mariel's internet connection loss. Anyway, Janice, I would like to ask you this question that I asked a while ago to Leandre and Aryan. Do you think girls and boys should be equal, or boys should be ahead of the girls, or girls should be ahead of the boys? What do you think, Janice?
Okay, well, first of all, I was having some technical difficulty, so I apologize if I repeat something that one of the other ladies already said.
Yeah.
My opinion is that men and women are equal, and that's what feminism is about. Feminism is the idea of equality, because there's nothing about men or about women that is inherently weaker or stronger. Neither gender, male, female, or anywhere on the gender continuum is inherently superior or inferior. So for that reason, I think that we are all equal, regardless of whether we're male, female, anywhere in between, whatever our gender identity is. I think that that's what feminism is, just the idea of being equal. And I think that when feminism is promoted in a way that makes it seem as though we're looking for more, we want more than men, we want to exert some kind of superiority, I think that is something that is actually disempowering to women in general, because no one likes to be told that they're inferior. And when we if we were to tell someone that they were inferior just because of their genitalia or the chromosomes that they were born with, then there's going to be a natural resistance to fight back against that. So I think it's important to, even though there are gender differences and those differences are beautiful, I think it's important to value those differences and see that despite our differences, we are equal.
All right. Thank you so much, Janice McGregor. So, to all the viewers out there, the panel speakers agree that men and women, boys and girls, should be equal. Though we have these gender differences, we can do everything. We can work it out in a balanced way. Like, we can help each other in different ways while we can build the same point of view. All right, thank you so much, and let's get back to you, Mariel.
Thank you so much, Miss Mia, for taking over. And my apologies, everyone. I'm having slow internet connection issues, so I was disconnected for a few minutes. Sorry about that. But going back to our topic, for this second question, it's actually special. It came from our group report when we did this feminist theories. Because actually, according to a female sociologist by Charlotte Gilman, she said that we live in a man-made ruled world, or in other terms, an androcentric culture wherein men are viewed to be more superior than women. And when we asked our professor where is the reason for that, where did it come from, and when we read our texts, our readings, we found out that the reason why we are living in this kind of culture or this kind of society is because of what we call the ruling texts. And when we define ruling texts, these are actually records or transcripts that affects our values, our perspectives, and how we see life in general. And an example of that is the Bible. Okay, so I'm going to tap into religion. So my apologies if there are any religious people out there, but I'm just speaking from an academic perspective, from what we have learned in sociology, because when we define the ruling text, these are, again, transcripts, records, or books that affects how we view ourselves, our values. This is where our values actually came from, the source of it. And one of it is religion, right? And that is from the Bible. And when we talk about the Bible, in sociology, we dive deep not into what we believe, but from factual information. So, why the Bible? Because number one, who wrote the Bible? It's all men. Because back then, women don't know how to write. They were not given the privilege to study and to be educated. So, who wrote the Bible? They're all men. Who, let's say, who translated the Bible? Again, all men. And not just the Bible, but also in politics. Back then, who wrote the rules? Who wrote all of the laws? They are all men again, because back then, women aren't given the right to vote. Women aren't given the right to study or to go to school, learn how to read and to write. So back then, all of the people who are actually creating and making the laws, the people who are actually forming society, are majority, if not majority, everyone, they're all men. And that could actually lead to bias, that could lead to inequality, because not all sides are being heard, right? What about the women? What about the children or those who are in the LGBT community? What about all of us? When the source or the foundation of society itself was formed by men. And that brings us to the second part of this talk. We're going to talk about the struggles of women at home, number two, at the workplace, and number three, in public. So let us first begin the struggles of women at home. So for all the panel speakers, you may share experiences or stories from people around you or from yourself that you can share to our viewers or into this discussion. So number one, did you have any personal struggles or experiences of being a woman at home? Let's start with Miss Janice.
I personally did not have any difficulties at home. I was, my parents are immigrants, and for them, education was very important. So not going to university was not an option for me. So I was fortunate enough to be raised in a home where I was encouraged to go to university. However, I do understand that some people do have problems at home, especially with the spoken and unspoken, the implied gender roles. Like women should be raising kids, or women should be having babies. Women should be at home taking care of those kids instead of having a career. And that's a very tricky, I personally do not have children, but I imagine that it would be a very tricky situation for a mother to navigate. But I do think that she has the right to work outside of the home. And I do think that she should have the right to be in any field, whether that's a traditionally male-dominated field, like the STEM fields, but I also think that a part of feminism is allowing women to choose for themselves to be a housewife or a stay-at-home mom. And did you want me to go into the second and third part of that question, or will we be coming back to those later?
We're gonna go back to those later. Okay. We're gonna start with, yeah. So thank you so much for sharing your insights, Miss Janice. And I agree, because there are plenty of stories here, actually, here in the Philippines that really but it's like a requirement for some reason, like for women to have families, or it's like the biggest role that a woman could have is to be a mother. For some reason, that was like a very common standard for women, not only here, but also in other parts of the world. I
Mhm.
think that the reason why is because we grew up in a very conservative environment that was, again, that can be traced back to our history, because here in the Philippines we got colonized by the Spanish for 300 years. I think it was 315 years, if I'm not mistaken.
333.
Oh yeah, so for 3 centuries we've been under the
Yes.
Spanish rule. And under the Spanish rule, the top priority was religion. And the way it was being portrayed to us is that through religion, it somehow dictated our gender roles. Because just to share, like in history, in Philippine history, when we got colonized by the Spanish, back then we were not always like this. Back then we were more free. We get to choose, and actually, in the pre-colonial history of the Philippines, women actually have a higher status than men. They are really respected, and when the Spanish arrived, everything just changed. And my history teacher or professor actually told us that the reason why women now are being seen as like a second class citizen here in the country, or maybe some decades back, or during the early times that we got over the Spanish colonization, is because of the influence of the Spanish when they said that women should only be at the household, women should not be at work. It should be the men who are outside who are working and providing for the family, while the girls should be at home and looking after the children. So that was the standard that they set upon us. And what I like about today's society is that today it's changing. I'm glad that it's changing. It's being challenged now. And we as women, we get more rights to choose and to decide for ourselves. And when Miss Janice said that we should allow women to choose for ourselves, that is so true, especially for the right to work. Because the right to work is the core to human existence. We have every right to work. It is part of who we are. We cannot take that away from anyone, from all genders. We have all the right to work, we have all the right to dream, and we can actually, if we want to have a family, then go ahead. But if we have a different path to take, all right, that's good. And for me, I'm sorry if I'm taking too long. My apologies. For me, I think that motherhood is actually, for me, it is not a requirement, but it can be a calling. You can choose to be a mother, but not all women should be required to be a mother. You know, you can always have the choice with your life. It's okay if you will stay single or become a single mother, or maybe try to adopt children. It's okay with you. But if you want to have none of it, that's fine as well. It doesn't make you any less of a human being if you decide to not to be a mother, because right now everyone should realize that we as women, it is not like the milestone of our lives. It is not the peak of our lives to be mothers. It could be so much more. It could be a job. It could be fulfilling a dream. It could, be traveling the world, if that is what the milestone is for you in your life. Just keep on dreaming and keep on going. So now let's move to Miss Ariane. Did you have any struggles at home? Any experiences?
Well, actually, I'm the same as Miss Janice. I am very fortunate to have a supportive family, to have a family that allows me to choose whatever that what I want. But this story that I'm about to share is the story of my mother. As I mentioned earlier, my mom is a single mom. She raised me up all by herself. And here in our home, we are with my cousins, two of my cousins, and one of my uncles. And so we're just five here in our home. And the only females here are my mom and me. And before, when my mom was still teaching, because my mom is a retired teacher, um, when she comes home from work, I was very young before, and I don't know how to do such chores or different activities at home. And there are times that my mom was really stressed out. My mom is um, what we call burnt out from work. She's very tired, but she still has a lot of chores to fulfill here in our home, like doing the dishes or cooking food, cooking rice, because rice is a part of our food here in the Philippines. And as women, we have different struggles that we face in our in every situation in our lives. And one of which is us women being referred as housewives, breadwinners, and or even a mother. And sometimes in our home, every woman or every mother's responsibility is to take care of their children or their siblings, taking care of the finances and the bills and everything. And there are times when we feel stressed out, feel tired, or personally, me, when I feel that my exams or I feel tired at school, when I when I feel sad or when I feel very stressed out, um, we the society or other people might think of us as weak human beings, or they'll think of women as weak persons. But when in reality, we aren't, because we are also humans. We also have feelings. We also feel tired, and we are created perfectly imperfect. The society is always labeling us women to be perfect, but in reality, we aren't not perfect. And there are times that we are not ourselves, to be honest. Like personally, I sometimes feel that I'm not pretty, I'm not confident with myself. Those feelings are very normal, especially to a woman who undergone a lot of struggles, especially biologically. We experience monthly periods or monthly menstrual cycles, which is very difficult for us to handle because our hormones and our bodies are changing up. So it changes the mood, it changes everything. That really affects us in our daily lives. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ariane, for sharing all of those stories and your mother's story as well. Thank you so much. We respect it a lot. And I like it when you mentioned that there is this constant struggle with us women between balancing our life at work and at the household or at home or the chores that we're doing. And when we did, our group report about feminism, we found out that somehow women are struggling with two different spheres, that is the work sphere and the household sphere. Somehow, why cannot we just bring it all in one sphere, to put those both in it? But as of this point, it's going to be very much difficult, considering that our life at home is so different from life when you're at work or you are a student and you're studying. It's very different because when you are at home, of course, the very first expectation is you have to do every single thing at home, the household chores, you have to clean your room, you have to do everything. It has to be you, always you. And actually, when I was a kid, just to share, at the early age of around 8 or 9, I would question my mom. If my mom is watching right now, I'm so sorry. But I was around the age of 8 or 9, and then each time when she would ask me to like clean my room, I would ask, "Well, how about my brother? Is he gonna clean his room or just me?" Those questions. you know, because at a very young age, I'm a very observant kid back then. I was very observant. I would question everything around me, like not only at home, I would also question things from my surroundings. Like for example, I'm at the mall and I would observe that why are more people buying foreign products compared to local products? Why are they in favor of known international brands compared to brands made from here, from those kinds of things. And I think, that's the reason why um, I'm very talkative at this point. But yeah, when I was a kid, I would always question issues here, not just at home, but everything around me. And again, to my mom, I'm so sorry, but I'm just sharing this as an experience to everyone. But I think I'm not the only one who's like this. I'm sure that maybe at some point in your lives, you have also questioned like standards or expectations of you at home. Like, for example, to be all knowing of the chores, why is it that only girls are expected to know of the household chores and not men? Why is it that it's always the women who are in charge of, cleaning and doing everything? And while it's okay for guys to just sit and watch television, those kinds of things. But then again, I am not downgrading the guys here. I'm just saying from personal experience or from stories of my friends and other people that I know. But yeah, there's this constant divide between women at home and women at work. It's a different like dimension when you say, because when you are at work, you have to adjust with the environment because you're going to be focused, you're going to be serious, you're going to work on the tasks at hand. But when you go home, it's a whole new different thing because you have to deal with the house, with your family, with your husband or with your children. It's going to be very different. There's going to be different approaches. Yeah, that's the word, different approaches per sphere, at home and at work. And I think now is a good time to really bring that out. So to show, yeah, to really share that it's really hard to be a woman, like what Miss Ariane mentioned as well earlier, that we're not just dealing with our expectations in society, but also the struggles with our bodies, like having monthly periods. That is, very painful. We have to deal with that every month. And I think that contributes when guys say that, why are women confusing? I've encountered guys, tell me that at school, um, when I'm with them, like at a cafe, when I would ask them, what do you think of us, as women? And then I've actually encountered guys saying, women are so emotional, women are confusing because their mood changes. And then when you analyze
I think
their
I know that guy.
yeah, you know that guy. and when you actually, and when you actually, when you actually analyze their answers, you will realize that it is not our fault. It's a part of who we are. It's because of our hormones. Because I think a week before or 2 weeks before we get our monthly period, you will have mood swings. You will have, cravings for food, and it's normal. And actually, when I first started having mine, when I was around 13 or 14, I searched on Google, why am I getting emotional? I searched on Google that question, why am I getting emotional? Why am I having mood swings? And then I found out that it's just normal because it's your hormones adjusting to your body, that it's like a sign telling you that you're about to have it. And it's actually, and the reason why you're having so many cravings is because your body is releasing this kind of hormone, or this kind of thing that would make you change your mind so many times, and that explains our mood swings, our cravings, our emotions. Like, so it's normal for us to have that. So to all the guys watching out there, my apologies if you are confused with us. If you think that we're very how do you call this? If you think that we are so hard to get or to understand, it's because honestly, we cannot understand it either. Even us, we cannot understand ourselves. So how do you expect us? How do you expect you to understand us if we cannot also understand ourselves because of what our hormones and what's going through? So yeah, thank you, Ariane. And lastly, Miss Leandri Matthews.
Okay, so I think everybody actually mentioned everything. But what I can say is definitely, women looking after children at home, doing the chores, and just doing general things that we would normally do at home. I think it's just become a norm. So I think when girls start growing up, I think they automatically think that's what I have to do, and they forget that they are able to dream on and they are able to be whatever they want to be. Because I feel like society has just kind of put us into a narrow defining box saying that we only have to do a certain thing where we can't just live our dreams. Say, for instance, if a girl maybe wants to play soccer, they would maybe say, no, girls can't play soccer. It's only for boys. It's just like that. So I think that we should really try to improve that and just let girls know, especially the younger generation, that they are able to do anything they want to do. Because I know even me myself, I'm going to be honest, I am not a big fan of doing the dishes. It's terrible. It's terrible, but sometimes I just have to push through it, and sometimes it becomes annoying, but it sometimes becomes a routine of women, just to clean the house, because it's something that we were taught to do at a very young age. And just like Janice said, like, I have a very supportive family, especially my mom. Like, she makes sure that I do everything that I want to do. So she puts pressure on me, like, you have to do the dishes. I'm like, okay, I'll do it now. But I think just all of that has just become a norm in society. Like, if we look back in history, women were never really classified of doing a job. They never really had a job position, if I can say it like that. They were known as housewives. Young girls growing up, you were taught that you're going to look after the house, you're going to look after the children, you are going to cook food, you are going to clean the dishes, you're going to do everything inside the home. And I think that's what we have to improve on. And I think, in my opinion, I feel like that should stop, because I think that we are actually downgrading a young girl's dream to become what she wants to be.
Thank you so much, Leandri. And just to add, in doing the household work and chores, it's actually okay for us women to do it. But in my perspective, I think it's better if everyone gets to do it. If all genders will also do their part at home, it's not just always us. It is also a guy's role to clean.
Yeah.
And like, for example, if I'm told that you should sweep the floors or maybe wash the dishes, then I think that it is just right for the other members of the family to do their part too, to clean their own dishes, to sweep their own rooms, because this is your home too. It is not just my home, it's your home too. You're also living,
Yeah.
so you must also do your part. And actually, when you're doing household chores, when you're at home, it is not just a way for you to, let's say, prepare yourself for this motherhood life or this expectation of being a mother, but I think that it's important for all of us to do household chores in preparation for our lives to be independent, to be on our own. It's not
Yes.
just about having this mindset of, going to have a family, but it can also be a preparation or a process for you to prepare to be on your own when you're no longer dependent on your own
Yeah.
family, actually out there. So, yeah, so that's my take on that. And secondly, let's now move on to the workplace or at school, if we're all still students here. Do you have any experience or struggles of being a woman when you're at work or at school? Let's start with Miss Janice.
In terms of work, I've just faced the stereotypical ideas of women, of being spoken over, having someone cut me off and speak over me, or someone repeating something that I just said and them getting credit for it, even though I just said it a few minutes earlier and it was written off. So that's an experience that I've had in the workplace. And, touching on what you ladies were saying earlier about how society is limiting a girl's ability to dream. There have been formal statements by politicians in various countries saying that women are not cut out for politics because we're supposedly hormonal. But obviously, I disagree with that. I think that a woman can be a president or a prime minister, or as we've seen in the US, a vice president. And I'm not pinning this on women. It's not our fault that people are limiting us and imposing their beliefs on us. But I do think that in terms of what we were discussing earlier about hormones and periods and stuff like that, we have to take responsibility for that, because yes, we are having hormonal changes, but we are humans and we're able to choose whether or not we want to act on that. So if I get moody, I choose whether I take that out on someone else or not. And as a responsible human being, I'm going to choose not to take out my frustration on someone else. Because when we look at, we can't use hormones as an excuse, because we're high functioning primates. So we're not simple animals. We can choose our behaviors. And if we were to just blame our behavior or how we treat others on hormones, then that's a really, really dangerous statement, because in a way, then we're also excusing men who are physically or mentally or psychologically or sexually abusive towards their spouse or their children, because they can always say, oh, I just have excess testosterone and that's why I get angry, and take it out on the people around me. So hormones, whether it's for a man or a woman, that's not an excuse for behavior. And I think that Leandrie, you were talking about your mom balancing, I'm sorry, I think it was Ariane. You were talking about your mom balancing work and home so well. That's an excellent example. And I think that, like, as a female, I'm not saying all females are like this, but I personally am very much in touch with my feelings. And when you're out in the workforce, you have to put those feelings aside and deal with work, because you have responsibilities as an employee. But at home and with our friends and with our family, then it's important to embrace the feminine part of us. And it's not weak or disempowering to turn to family and friends and be like, I feel sad, I feel down, I feel frustrated. And it's not weak to accept help from family or friends, whether that person is a male or a female. So that was my answer in terms of what women face at work, but I also wanted to just expand on some things that were discussed a little bit earlier.
Yeah, and thank you so much for pointing those out. And I really agree when you said that women at the workplace are being seen as, the lower type of people, just because we are being emotional or because of our hormones. And when you shared your story, like you're being cut off, and other people are getting the credit of what you're saying, you're not the only one who's going through that. There are other people as well, and I have heard stories from different girls out there too. And just to share mine, I'm actually not yet working, but I'm a part of many organizations like NGOs. And of course, I'm not going to mention which organization is this, but I'm going to share. This happened some months ago. I think it happened last August or September, around that time. And we were having a team meeting, and I was the only girl at the time. I was the only girl at the meeting, and all of the members were men. All of the officers there were men, and I'm like the only girl there. And then while we're having the meeting, I was stating some concerns, some points for improvement. How can we improve as an organization, and what can we do more, to encourage our members to be active with our activities and everything. So I was sharing all of those insights and points for correction. And while I was doing that, someone said that, okay, she's mad now. She's getting mad. And I'm like, I'm not mad. I'm just saying and sharing my insights. Even if my voice is kind of loud, but it doesn't mean that I'm actually mad. And then while I was speaking, I was being cut off and saying, okay, I think that's enough now. She's mad, she's angry. And I think they're just, I'm like, what the heck? What the heck is happening to this? And I really want to complain or something, but I did that after, after the meeting. I sent a personal message to them, actually, because I'm not gonna back down.
Right, just because you're speaking loudly doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. Just because I'm speaking loudly, it doesn't mean that I'm mad or I'm angry. I'm just, stating my.
It's passion. Opinion. You're speaking with passion, not anger. Like there's a difference things that are considered weak, like anger. Well, anger is weakness. Or tears, that's often seen as weakness, but it could be passion. Like I've spoken about women's issues and I've been in tears, but not out of weakness. It's something that I'm passionate about. And tears are often misinterpreted as a form of weakness or women being moody, but really it's just passion, not anger.
Because what if you are driven? From what you're doing, you are inspired, you're determined that you really want to improve this organization, when your intention is you just want to help, you just want to do your part and your job in the organization. But if they are seeing you as someone, who is being angry, someone who is too emotional to handle the job, then I think that, it's not the right organization for you. You have every right to transfer or to walk away, but at the same time, you also have the choice to fight. And in my case, that's what I did. I spoke out. Like after the meeting, after the video meeting, I chatted those people and I said, earlier I wasn't angry. I was just sharing my insights and my observations on what we can improve, because first of all, that's my job, At the same time, it is my college course. This is what I'm studying for. This is what I'm preparing myself for. Because my college course actually centers on organizational development, and I'm putting that into practice with the organizations that I'm involved in. So if you cannot see that as a way, as a way for me of doing my part, then okay, that's your take, but I'm not giving up, I'm not just gonna sit around and do nothing when you tell me these things that are unacceptable and untrue. So let's now move on to Miss Ariane. Do you have any stories, experiences at school or at work?
Well, yes, this experience is very personal to me. And fun fact, before I joined Little and Teen Glam Philippines, and before this pandemic thing happened, I was a part of a catering service. Yes, I do. I work part-time on a catering service, and which requires a lot of setups, kitchen utensils, kitchen jobs, and backdrops for the events. And we have this event on a small event in Angono, Rizal, which is really just very near here in Cardono, which I live in. And the event place was held on the fourth floor of an apartment complex. We were there on the rooftop, and we were only just three. The staff that are available that day was just three, me and just two of my male worker co-workers. And to speed up the process of setting up the food, the buffet, the backdrops, and everything, I challenged myself to lift heavy equipments or kitchen utensils, which is I lift up 3 boxes of food warmers where we store the food, 3 boxes of food warmers from the first floor to the fourth floor. And I think it's kind of stereotypical that some of my coworkers thought that I might drop it because I'm weak, because I'm a female, I'm a girl, I'm too weak to lift heavy things. But in reality, I did it. I challenged the stereotypical doings of a woman for not for lifting heavy materials. And I also lift up different uh, materials or designs for that event. And not only the stereotypes from a workplace that women are experiencing, but also is the gender pay gap. According to recent studies that I've read before, women tend to enter a career that pay less than men. And the reason behind this is because women or girls at a young age were steered away by their parents, by the teachers, their peers, and even the society, saying that these certain jobs are only for men and these jobs are only for women. And oftentimes, when a girl decides to enter a career or a path that only men really dominated, or what we call a career that is dominated by man, oftentimes girls struggle to find role models, female role models to look up to. They have lack of inspiration. And sometimes it is unlikely to find a mentor that are comfortable to speak with or to talk to, because personally I am very shy, or I don't really speak with men that much because I'm feeling very uncomfortable sometimes. And I think for me, we should open up to all genders when it comes to job opportunities. And as parents, as future parents, or the parents right now, should not limit our children for choosing the path or the career that they wanted, and let them be who they wanted to be as a person, and as an individual. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ariane, for sharing that. And I do agree that, we as women, we tend to be limited by society by telling us that this is for a man, this is for a woman. So just stay there, just stay at your side, because if you try to somehow cross over, you might be out of place or you might get left behind. That's the common phrase, being left behind, just because they think that you cannot do this, you cannot do that. And that's always centered on physical activities, like what you shared earlier of when you're doing your work, that you carried some things from the first floor to the fourth floor. Am I right? Fourth floor, or but you were still able
Yes.
to do it. Yeah, exactly. And I actually encountered a few friends of mine who would tell me, like, they would come to me and share this, like, hey, I'm confused. And I asked, why are you confused? And then she said that I want to become, in this profession, she wants to, let's say, become an engineer or a person in the field of construction, but they're girls. And for me, it's all right, just go for it. If that's your dream, if that's where your passion lies, if that is your talent to build, and to craft things from scratch, if that's your specialty, then just go for it. But then she would say like, I can't. And I would ask, why can't you? Then she would say, my parents would tell me that it's a man's job. When you are doing physical labor, it's often being labeled as a man's job. And I said, is that even written in the law? Is there like a written law for that? Like, is it in the job description that says for a man only? And there's none, okay? So it's open for you, it's open for everyone. And then I said that, it's okay if they see it that way, then that's fine. But what matters is, what do you think about it? What about you? Think of yourself, because it's going to be your future. It's not their future, it's going to be yours. So if you want to be a construction worker, if you want to be an engineer, then just go. And even if you're a woman, it does not make you any less qualified than those who are also applying for it just because of your gender. If you want that profession, just go for it. Because yeah, I haven't encountered any documents, there aren't any written laws or job descriptions that would say in the end, this profession is only for a guy, or this profession is only open for guys. There's none of it. There's no restrictions. It's all just labeled and socially and constructed by society. It's just being told, but it is not strongly evidenced by factual information. So I guess that's where the strength lies, that it is not evidence based, it is opinion based only. And when you go actually to law or in politics, you have to be more factual than being opinionated. So really, if you want to go for any physical labor, then just go for it, if you're a woman. And I actually asked my professor, I would ask, sir, why do you think that women are being limited, especially through lines of work? And then he said, read the readings, read the readings. And I checked the readings, and the answer was there. And then it says that aside from physical work, there's also what we call emotional labor. It's two different things. When we talk about physical, is what you do, the action, but emotional work, it is your internal approach to the job that you're doing. And they actually found out in the reading that women are actually more exposed to emotional labors. There's this certain expectation. I don't know if it is applicable in your area or in your country. Like, for example, for women, you're always expected to smile, to be hospitable, to be patient, to be caring and soft. While men, they are expected to be aggressive, to show no sign, of like being emotional, of like crying or being, let's say, under pressure.
Soft.
They should show, yeah, any signs of like being soft, like what we do. And actually, that's because, again, societal expectations, labels. And I think when we talk about feminism, it is not just about us women, it also highlights the experiences of men. That's where they come in. There's what we call toxic masculinity. So the guys, it's not just us women who have standards. The guys also have standards of their own that they're being expected to follow. So in toxic masculinity, there's that expectation of, you cannot show any sign of weakness. You cannot cry, because if you cry, then that means you're weak. And around grade 10, I was in 10th grade when a classmate of mine, he is an advocate for men empowerment. If there's women empowerment, there's men empowerment, and he advocates for that. And when our teacher asked him, why do you advocate for men empowerment? And he said, because for a very long time, men are also under constant pressure of toxic masculinity. And then we were all like, oh yeah, that's right. So it's not just us women, this is also about men. And then our teacher asked, so why do you think there's toxic masculinity? Why do you think that happens? And then my classmate said that, because miss, and to everyone of my classmates, did you know that the highest rates of suicides, are not actually from women, but they are from men. It is actually the guys who are committing more suicides than women. And the reason why that's not being, being trendy or being shown on the news as often as us is because it is not being looked into by society. if you read an article about a guy undergoing depression or a guy, let's say being suicidal, like the common thought of society is that he'll just get through it. He can go through that. It's fine. He's gonna move on from it. But what if the other way around happened? So being a feminist, you also stand up for guys. You also stand up for all genders, and that's why I'm gonna okay, I'm gonna just share this next panel discussion. I know March is Women Empowerment Month. It's our month as women, and tomorrow is International Women's Day. But just to share, since feminism is also about standing up for men, for equality for all genders. To all the viewers watching right now, at the end of March, at March 28th, am I right, Ate Mia? Is it March 28th? Yes, we'll be having a special panel discussion wherein the panel speakers are all guys. Yeah, they're all men. And the title of the talk would be Queen's Conference Breaking Boundaries, And
But
the
why
main
queens?
yeah,
It should be kings.
yeah, like the Queen's Conference, because actually, like, it's called Queen's Conference because, again, you know it was like our idea to start this conference last January. It was our plan, so it's Queen's Conference still. And yeah, then again, that's another thing to point out. When it's okay if it's called Queen's Conference, even if you're all guys, it doesn't degrade their gender. But yeah, so it's gonna be called Queen's Conference Breaking Boundaries. So to end Women Empowerment Month, or Women's Month, we're gonna also introduce the perspective of guys. So that's gonna be very interesting. Okay, so lastly, Miss Leandri Matthews. Oh, wait, Miss Ariane, do you have anything to say?
Yes. I really want.
So I would definitely say, okay, so obviously I would say a job, but it's more of my own online business. But I haven't really gone through any struggles with that. But I would say at school, when I was in high school, I think because I was very involved in my high school in a sense of being a part of leadership. Myself being, a deputy head librarian and also a head librarian, as well as being part of culture portfolio and so forth. I think that whilst I was part of leadership, I felt that I was very unheard because I was also very petite. So I think a lot of people kind of looked past me in a sense that, okay, she has nothing to say because she's always quiet, just like Ariane said. I was a very shy person, very quiet, also observant, just like Marielle said. I am very observant. So when I'm in class, I hardly say anything. I'm just like listening. That's about it. Because in my mind, I always felt that if I were to say something, I would always feel judged by my opinion or what I say to people. But I think that now that I've grown up and now that I'm in university, it's actually not like that as well. And also joining the pageant has really opened that pathway for me just to share my opinions. But in a sense of struggle, I think not being able to live up to my own expectations, because when you're part of leadership, there's technically a type of standard you have to live by, and sometimes it felt like I never met that standard because I was always maybe outcast and I was just like, I was just there, but I wasn't really doing anything. So I usually participated in things instead of actually doing the leadership part of it because I felt that I was just unheard. So I thought, you know what, let me just step back rather because other people are doing it, so I might as well not do it. And I think that's where I started to doubt myself with that. But I think in general with women struggling at the workplace, I think the main struggle they really face is the salary. I think women are very underrepresented at every level they get to. And statistics actually show in 2018, the median salary for women is roughly 22% lower than males, than their salary, which is actually shocking because you can actually compare, for instance, say a female lawyer with a male lawyer. They're both doing the same thing, yet a male lawyer will probably be more paid than a female lawyer, which is totally unfair. And I feel that's also very biased in a way because we are all doing the same job. The the same thing in the job, but we also underrepresented as if we don't really need to be paid much because it's almost like the man is just doing everything, so I might as well pay him more. But I think why people just really forget that is because women don't really, I guess people would say that we are very emotionally intact with a few things, because whenever we make a decision, it's always emotionally. Like for myself, even, I always think of my emotion and then I try to fix the situation.
Did she get cut off or?
I guess she lost her connection.
Oh, the
Okay,
connection.
here she is. All right, back
Sorry,
to you,
my
Leandra.
Wi-Fi is acting up. Sorry, connectivity. But like I was saying, I think just in general, but I think one of the other struggles is also sexual harassment or just harassment in general in the workplace. I think about 35% of women experience it in the workplace, and yet overall, like 75% will maybe witness it, but they won't really report it because they're scared of being fired. Because I think that is the norm in a workplace. The minute you become a victim, you stay a victim. And I think that is very, very scary as well in a workplace, because you might lose your job, and that maybe might be the only source of income for you and your family, especially if it's a single mother. Because I know even in America, some mothers work 3 jobs just to keep their family going and try to pay rent and try to get their kids through school. So it is very scary to see how small things like that, or I should rather say big things like that, that can really create a bigger impact or a negative impact on women.
Thank you so much, Leandri, and I do agree with everything that you said. And actually, if there is physical work, there is physical labor, there is emotional work as well, like what I mentioned earlier. And actually, for men, it is easier for them to handle emotional work because, like, for example, if you are, let's say, a construction worker and you're a guy, you can anytime express your feelings of being tired, or you are, you are want to take a break. You can express all of that. Like, but for example, if you are a woman, especially if you are a flight attendant, you cannot show any of that. Like all throughout the flight, when you're
Yeah.
on a plane and you're a flight stewardess, the common and it's always expected of you to keep on smiling even if you're tired. You cannot express your tiredness or your exhaustion. You just have to keep on smiling. And then, like, for example, if a passenger disrespects you or would shout at you in public while you are inside the aircraft, you cannot complain, you cannot talk back, because it will be taken against the company or the flight itself, to the airlines that you're under. So even if you defend yourself, even if you say that, hey, you cannot tell that to me, or you're screaming already to me, if you do that, it will be taken against you. But whereas if you're a guy, if you are at this field of work, like for example a construction worker, you can express anytime what you feel or emotion. So I guess that's another field of concern at the workplace, the emotional labor and the expectations of both men and women in society. And lastly, before we would go on break, Miss Aryan, are you gonna mention something earlier? You gonna share with us something? Yeah.
Yes, actually, when I was applying for college or I was inquiring on a campus that I wanted to go in, the Dean of College of Education asked me, why did you take up or why do you wanted to become a teacher? Because I am taking Bachelor of Secondary Education major in Filipino. She asked me that, wanted to become a teacher. Did your mother pressured you, or did your mother dictate that you should be a teacher as well because your family is full of teachers? I said, "Mom, no. I didn't be I didn't wanted to become a teacher because my family told me so. I wanted it because that is my passion. I wanted to impart knowledge. I wanted to share my uh, the knowledge and the experience to my future students. And a lot of people here, especially here in the Philippines, are labeling teachers or labeling women to become a teacher because, as Mariel said, it is an emotional work because a teacher requires to have that emotional attachment to their students as if that they are their own students, or I mean their own children.
Yeah, like your
And
family.
yes, and we all know that in our classroom that our teachers our second parents. They are our second mothers. And I ask myself, did I really did I really wanted to become a teacher because the society dictates me to become a teacher? I said no. I wanted to become a teacher because I love the Filipino culture. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to share my knowledge to my future students. So that is what I wanted to add earlier because Mariel mentioned the emotional work and also the gender stereotypes when it comes to workplace.
Yeah, and thank you so much for adding that up and for sharing it with all of us. And I believe that many people, especially young girls, can relate to that, those different expectations. And for the last question, before we go on a 5-minute break, finally we can, drink some water and, and take a rest for a while. The last one is, did you experience any struggles in public or in society in general? So, like, for example, this can be like catcalling, or like, for example, like any like harassment or what, anything that's happening, in public at the mall, or you're at church, or maybe you are outside at the park. Did you have any struggles in public? Let's first start with Miss Janice.
Oh, uh, yeah, you may have noticed me rolling my eyes at that. Yes, catcalling, that is something that I think all women deal with. And it's very frustrating because it's just a person's way of trying to show their superiority over you, their objectification of you. But what I always do is I just turn around and say, pardon me, I didn't hear that. Could you repeat it? And then the guy just backs away. He's just like, nothing. And he'll leave me alone. But I find that confronting the person that said it, I'm not saying that I have to be rude, just being, I'm sorry, could you repeat that? That always kind of puts them in their place. Or, I'm sorry, were you talking to me? That always puts them, it kind of shows them, I'm not going to take this from you or from anyone. In terms of society in general, someone mentioned earlier the whole smile thing. You know what? It's not my job to smile just because it makes someone else more comfortable. I'm a person who my resting face looks intimidating. I won't use the word, but you know what I'm talking about. But if I'm just listening to someone speak and I look angry, that doesn't mean that it's projecting that person's feelings onto me to say, oh, she looks angry, instead of, oh, she's paying attention to what someone else is saying. So I actually remember the first time that I was told to smile. It was by another girl, actually. We were both 14 or 15 at the time. She told me to smile, and it was the first time I ever encountered that. And I mean, looking back at it now, it's so unfortunate that she was just a 14-year-old girl, and she was already being taught and trying to impose it on other women smile because it makes you more pleasant. In terms of society at large, sorry, I'm just looking down at my notes here. In terms of society and history in general, Laurel Thatcher Ulrich once said that well-behaved women seldom make history. And I know that's a quotation that's been misattributed to Marilyn Monroe and other celebrities, but it was actually a female professor who said that. And it's often been taken as a call to action or a call to misbehave, so to speak. But what she actually meant was that the reason why women are not in history as much, the reason why we're underrepresented in the history books, is because we're not paying attention to the changes that the well-behaved women do. So whether that's a stay-at-home mom or a teacher, teachers are very important. But because it's a stereotypically female job, how many teachers are in the history books? And basically, based on what Professor Ulrich was saying, we do need to pay more attention to these women who are the strong, silent ones who are not verbally out there. That said, the women who are out there making changes, we do need to respect them. One example is Greta Thunberg. Now, whether you agree with her stance or not, that doesn't matter. But it's always bothered me the way that people have written her off as, oh, just a little girl. Well, she just turned 18, so she's not a girl, she's a woman. So society is writing her off because of her gender, which is unfortunate. Another thing that women need to empower other women on is we need to make sure that everyone is included in a conversation. So when we're talking about feminism, we also have to remember that there are women who are not represented in this conversation, such as transgender women, lesbian women, bisexual women. So we need to include them in this conversation as well. And also women with disabilities, whether it's physical or invisible disability. We need to include them in this discussion in order for women as a whole to move forward. And I believe it was Leandri, you pointed out that in some places women are working 3 jobs just to make ends meet. We need to empower all women to have a voice in public, and that includes those ones who are in a position where they can't go to rallies, they can't be vocal because they're having a hard time just having ends meet. They're working, they're raising kids, they may have 2 or 3 jobs, and we need to find ways to include them in conversations because at the end of the day, they need time to sleep too, so they can't come out to the rallies. We need to find ways, whether it's social media or phone calls to our friends, and have them have their opinions heard by the public. And jumping over a little bit off of that topic, when we were talking about society, women, like problems that women face in society, I've always found it kind of frustrating that, you know, you see guys joke about girls who have daddy issues. And it's like, why are you making fun of the girl because her dad screwed up? Her dad did something wrong. Her dad was either abusive, neglectful, emotionally unavailable, maybe physically unavailable, maybe he walked out. And somehow it's getting turned and weaponized against the woman. That's never made sense to me. So I guess those are my main thoughts on the struggles of women in public. I just wanted to add something though. In terms of my personal journey to empowerment, I found that being able to accept who I am and what I am and the way I am, when I accepted that, that's when I realized that I am empowered. That said, like I said before, empowerment's a lifelong journey. So I hope that a day from now, a week from now, 10 years from now, I'll be a different person who's more evolved and more well-rounded than I currently am. But when I realized that I was confident and empowered in who I am, it was the moment that I realized that I had a conversation with someone and I didn't read them my resume, so to speak. I didn't list off all of my accomplishments. I didn't list off everything I did in university or my pageant titles or anything like that. I just felt I don't need to qualify myself to this person. I am, just by virtue of being myself, qualified. I don't have to read them a resume, basically, of why they should take me seriously. They should just take me seriously because I'm a human being and I have a lot to contribute to a discussion.
Thank you so much, Miss Janice, and that is so true. Everything that you said is all on point. And when you mentioned that, you know, there's this problem really with catcalling, I can relate to that because the first time I experienced catcalling was I was in grade 10 again. I was in 10th grade. I was approaching senior high, but at that time, looking back at that time, I realized how let's say I don't have that much knowledge really on catcalling, on harassment, or any of those things back then. I had little or maybe zero knowledge of it. So when I first experienced catcalling, I was at a mall. I was wearing my school uniform. I was wearing this polo type shirt, and then I was wearing, it's not even a skirt, I was wearing pants. I was wearing pants at that time, and I was just walking towards the escalator. And while I was walking, going there was this group of guys who passed by me, and then this guy just catcalled me so loud that the people around us, they all turned and looked at me as if I was the issue, you know? They all looked at me, they all turned around, and then they all stared at me for 10 to 15 seconds, and I was just standing there frozen because I didn't know what to do. What was I supposed to do? Should I say something? Should I just walk away, or should I, confront the person? I really had no idea because it was, my first time to experience that, so I didn't know what to do. I felt what's the word? I felt exposed. I felt exposed in all the wrong ways possible. I just wanted to hide. But then, after they stare, I did nothing. I just walked away. I climbed the escalator and act as if nothing happened, I acted as if I didn't get catcalled in public 15 seconds ago or 20 seconds ago, as if it didn't happen at all. And I just went on with my daily routine, and I went home, I did my homework, and then that's it. I was in 10th grade, and even if that was 4 years ago, just imagine people younger than that, people like, let's say, or ladies at the age of 10 or 13 or 14 or under the age of 18 who underwent catcalling and they had no idea what to do. Because if someone like me who was in 10th grade at that time didn't know what to do, then what more if that girl was a child or a preteen or just starting her teenage years, right? So that was crazy. And actually, this was a main problem in society. This is still a main problem. A lot of women are still getting catcalled or getting harassed, and then it's as if that it should be us who should adjust. It's like it is our fault, maybe, and then they would put the blame on us because of what we are wearing. It's the girl's fault because she's wearing, short skirts, or her shorts are, too skimpy and all. But I think it's not about our clothing. It was never about us. It's your mindset, your mentality, how you think of us women. It's not our fault. It's the way that you objectify us, the way you think that we're not human beings. We are just like objects for your own pleasure. That's how you see me. That's how you view me. So it's not my fault. It is yours. It is you who should change and not me. And yeah, I think for all the girls out there, it is never your fault. It was never your fault in the first place. And you should never be judged for the way that you wear, for how you're wearing, your style, your sense of fashion. It's the way you want to express yourself, so it's all right. But the way that people perceive you negatively, that's what should change. So let's move to Miss Ariane.
Yes, actually, I have a lot of experiences to share about this struggles of women when it comes to public. But I wanted to add up on what Miss Janice mentioned earlier, the RBF that we called, or the um, look. And I am a Scorpio, so I think a common uh, trait of a Scorpio is having that intimidating eyes or intimidating look. So I always have that RBF, and most of my friends or my classmates, when ever first day of school is approaching, their initial thoughts about me was I was a snob. I was very, that intimidating person. Well, I'm not actually, because I'm a talkative person and I'm very friendly. I be friends with all of with everybody. So I wanted to add that up. And when it comes to body shaming, I am also a victim of body shaming. I've been body shamed for multiple times. And there was one situation where I wanted to join a pageant. And naturally, if ever you would see me in person or in my pictures, you would notice that I'm very skinny. And people would told me, uh, why would you join pageants? It's for very fit girls, having that Coca-Cola body or something. But why would you join that? You might fall, or your bones might break. And I didn't listen to them actually. I listened to my own voice. I listened to myself. I joined the pageant, and here I am, being a spokesperson for different causes. Another one is what we call the slut shaming. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry for the word, but people, especially here in the Philippines, we uh, have that conservative community, because in the Philippines, the the most common religion is Catholic. So we
Yeah.
are very conservative when it comes to our style, our fashion, or our clothes. And every time that I wanted to go out wearing a crop top or a short or sleeveless tank tops, I was really afraid that other people will look at me for about 10 to 15 seconds, like what Mariel experienced, people might look at me. I'm very afraid to express myself as an individual because I am a aspiring fashion designer. I actually designed my own evening gown in my pageant in Little and Teen Glam Philippines, and I was really afraid to show my body because just like what everybody says, if you got them, flaunt them, diba? And another issue is about sexual harassment. Um, Personally, I've experienced this. I've never tell this to anyone except my family and two of my best friends and my boyfriend. One of my close relative, I will not say if whether who he is. One of my close relative went here in our home. I was taking a bath. Two of my cousins went out to play volleyball. My uncle also went out to have a drinking session with his friends, and my mom was also about to go with her friends to have that afternoon tea, and I was about to be left alone there. And what this close relative of mine went here in our home, and I was casually taking a bath and just the usual. I was doing my routine, and well, I will describe my the bathroom here in my house first. The bathroom and the comfort room was just separated by a single wall, and that wall has a gap on the upper side, which means the comfort room and the bathroom share only one light source. And I was just casually taking a bath, bare, and I was doing my shampoo. Then I noticed a shadow of a hand in between the gaps. And I saw that there was a hand. I thought that he was just reaching for bugs or for cobwebs or anything. And that moment, I didn't really panic at all. And then when I turned around and faced the wall that I was referring to, I saw this close relative of mine peeking onto me while I was bare naked. I was taking a bath, and it was kind of traumatizing, and I really didn't freak out because I didn't wanted to make a scene because my mom's friend was over here in our house, and I really didn't panic, and I kind of speed up the process of my bathing session. And when I went out, I saw this guy. He was sitting in front of the door with just a towel. He was just wearing a towel and nothing else. And his both legs were separated, which means he was showing his genitals to me. And it was traumatizing. I didn't scream. Again, I went up to my room. I changed quickly, very quickly, because I was afraid that I would experience that again. And then I told my mom very calmly, "Mom, this guy was picking on me while I was taking a bath." And my mom told the parent of that close relative. And after that, I cut ties with him. I didn't really talk to him, I mean, for a very long time. And it was traumatizing up until now. Every time that I am taking a bath and there's another person in our comfort room, I would really face the wall and cover all of my body, even if I am taking a bath. That's how traumatizing it is. And when it comes to being catcalled, I have another experience. I was sitting in our patio outside our house. casually petting my cats because I have three cats. I was playing with my cats, and the house in front of us was having a renovation, which means there are a lot of construction workers. And I was casually petting my cat. I was wearing a t-shirt and basketball shorts, which means it is just right above my knee. It's not really showing all of my legs. I was petting my cat, and one of the construction workers loudly said, "Sana all kinakalikot," which in English, it means, "I hope everybody experience being touched," which he refers being touched sexually. And me being a Scorpio and having that RBF, I stared at him for a hot minute. I stared at him and with my RBF, and he looked at me, and then he realized how embarrassing and how shameful what he have done. And I think all of this should really stop. I'm not generalizing all of men being this kind of uh, person, because I know a lot of men that are very decent and very nice to me. And to be perfectly honest, most of my friends are guys, and I hate it. I hate it when men think that we dress beautifully just to impress them. But the truth is, we wanted to dress up because we are confident on ourselves. We
Yeah.
wanted to express ourselves as an individual. And for me personally, I dress up beautifully to inspire other women, especially young girls, to become confident on what they have and to become who they wanted to be. That is all. Thank you.
Well, first, I'm lost of words. All I could say is you're very brave and courageous to share your story here with us and during a live panel discussion that took a lot of bravery and strength, and we really admire you for that. And just to tell you, you are not alone. I'm sure that there's plenty of girls all over the world who went through that as well, the same as yours. And the fact that you shared your story, like what Miss Janice said, a lot of women are being underrepresented. A lot of voices aren't being heard. And even if we're all from different places, even if Miss Janice is in Canada or we're here in the Philippines and Leandre is in South Africa, I'm sure that we all share similar stories. And when you shared yours, it's somehow connected to some of our experiences, but because when we talk about, let's say, harassment or abuse and catcalling, it can happen to anyone. And the fact that many women would say that they just stayed silent. They didn't do anything. Like what happened to me, some years ago, and like what happened to Ariane, the fact that we did not stood up for ourselves, we did not speak up. It's not our fault, because at that time we didn't know what to do at first. But now we are here years later or months later. We are wiser people now. We have more knowledge of what's going on. We know what's happening. And just by voicing out these concerns, and for the viewers who are still watching, even if you think that this is a sensitive topic or something that should not be shared in public, I think it should. Now is the time that it should be shared, it should be known. Because if we stay silent, if we just keep on ignoring the fact that this happened to me, this happened to us, this happened to many women out there, if we keep on ignoring that, then we're just contributing more to the problem itself. It's not getting solved. It's not getting heard out there because we're being said or we're being told to stay silent about it. So thank you, Ariane, for sharing that. Miss Leandre, do you have anything else to share with us? Do you have any insights or reactions?
Before I start, I just want to say, Ariane, you are so brave. Like, I'm actually so proud of you for actually saying that out to a very big audience, and I'm really, really proud of you for that. What I can say, I think everyone actually just mentioned the general, but I think with catcalling, I think it's not just also in public, but also on social media as well. If you go through comments of certain posts, you'll see a lot of catcalling appalling. Because I think some people actually miss that. They just like look at the good comments or all of that. Like, for instance, sometimes if I am on Instagram and I see a comment and then I'm like, whoa, this does not concern me, this is inappropriate, or anything else like that, then I literally delete it, because it's something that just, it comes so randomly, and it's so shocking to see that you don't know that person doesn't know me, but yet they still have that confidence to catcall you on social media. And I think that is so sad to see a society like that, where they actually allow that to be a norm. And yeah, like I said, so social media should be a platform of positivity, and it should actually be a platform where people can be heard. Like here in South Africa, gender-based violence has really taken a toll on our country. It's very bad. Like a lot of women, for instance, a woman was murdered and she was still hung on a tree while she was carrying a baby, while she was pregnant. And it was just so horrific to see that, because she did nothing, yet someone had to do something about it. But even though she did nothing about it, yet she became a victim, which was so horrific to see. But I think that we really need to step up, because I know for a fact that it's sometimes so difficult to stand up and speak up, not for only ourselves, but for others. But sometimes it has to be done. So say, for instance, you and your friend are walking and maybe someone catcalls your friend, for instance, then you need to actually step up and stand up and speak up. Because if you're not going to do that, then you are just contributing. Just like Mariel said, you're contributing to the problem and you're not doing anything about it. So you're technically saying you're fine with it. Because if you're not fine with something, you have to say that you are not fine with it. But otherwise, I think that we really need to improve on the education with males, especially when they are young. I think starting when they're young, because I know in high school or maybe primary school, we have a subject called life skills or life orientation, and we should really implement discussions where we actually hear what teenagers actually think of it. And I know it is a touchy subject, but we need to hear their opinion about these things, because if they're not being addressed about it at a very young age, it worsens in future. So that's my answer.
Thank you so much, Leandri, and I really agree. Education is indeed key. We need to educate the people around us, especially the young generation, because actually, during the end of our group report about feminist theories, our professor asked us, so how will you address the feminist theories? How will you address feminism to our society? And then our group, we answered this series of answers, and then he would say, that's not the right answer. And we're like, why? And then he said that, let's face it, in reality, it may be too late for the older generations, but it is never too late for the younger ones. So if you really want to address women empowerment, feminism, and all the other societal issues, what matters now are the young generation, the people who will take over, after us. It's gonna be their turn. It's gonna be their time. So while they are still in the process of education, where they're still studying, it is just right for us. Let's face it, we're getting old. Let's face it, we're not getting any young. So so now we're at this age wherein we're entering our 20s, or we're in our 20s, or maybe 30s. It is our duty now to educate these young people, because they will be the people of the future, and with them, as they say, they are the hope of the nation. So I hope that through this panel discussion, there are young people watching this, or members of the youth, or people of our generation are watching this, hopefully to be interested with us in discussing feminism and women empowerment. And with that, we'll be taking a 5-minute break. So thank you so much, guys, and stay tuned for the last segment as we discuss the solutions and our message to society and to women.
right, what's up everyone? We are live again here on Primo Modelo TV at hindi pa kami nagtatapos. And yes, patuloy lamang po kayong manood dito sa amin sa Primo Modelo TV. We're all the way from the Philippines. Happy Women's Month to all the women out there. At maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga bumati sa aking kaarawan na bukas na po, Ayan, tumatanggap na po ako ng mga munting regalo. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the panel discussion moderated by Mariel PRION, the Miss Teen Glam International 2020, entitled Queen's Conference Stronger Together, #Women Empowerment. And what's interesting the most, on March 28th, 2 weeks after this panel discussion, another panel discussion will be live again here. That will be on Sunday, March 28th. Entitled, I forgot. I will ask Mariel later on as I let her join me here on the screen. Ang magiging panel discussion will be together with all boys panel speakers. So I'm pretty excited. I'm not going to spill the tea first who will be the panel speakers, but I'm sure you're gonna like them because I know that they are familiar with you guys. They are all pageant kings, and one of them comes from Germany, South Africa, and the Philippines. So I hope them and wish them the best on this panel discussion, and I hope a lot of people would hear the most of it. And yes, anyway, getting back to the after break of this panel discussion, please welcome again our panel moderator, Mariel PRION. Hello, Mariel.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for watching our live panel discussion. I didn't expect that we would last for more than 2 hours. I guess we really shared a lot of experiences, insights, and ideas about feminism and women empowerment. So yeah.
And actually, I would like to add up on that, Mariel, because I can see with the panel speakers and you as well, I can see the empowered women, the spirit of empowered young ladies in this stream. So I'm pretty sure that there are more to come yet in this panel discussion later on, and I can't wait to hear more of your stories, guys. And anyway, let's bring back our panel speakers. Hello, Leandre, Ariane, and Janice MacGregor from Canada. Hello, guys.
Hi.
Okay. All right, Mariel, back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Mia. And now we're at the concluding part of our discussion. For this last part, we will start with the question, how do we give solution to the issues women are facing in our own way, especially now we are still currently at a pandemic setting? How can we address, how can we contribute to the solutions that women are facing as of today? So let's first start with Ms. Janice.
Okay. Yes, as you pointed out, we are in the middle of a pandemic right now, so it is difficult to do in-person discussions. And I apologize about the camera angle. I had to move so I could charge my phone. But in terms of what we can do, with all due respect to other people's opinions, I don't think it's ever too late for a person to change. So I think that we can try to educate those people from maybe an older generation who do have more traditional ideas about a woman's role. But as someone stated earlier, it is important to start teaching boys who are still young. We need to teach them that, as was stated, when we dress a certain way, we're dressing that way for us. We didn't have them in mind when we picked out that outfit. Yeah. We didn't have them in mind when we were shopping. We had ourselves in mind when we were shopping, and that's why we chose that outfit. in terms of what we can do to help with society, we need to ensure that our underrepresented sisters, whether it's their racial minority or a religious minority, transgender women, we need to make sure that they are empowered to speak. I know that with transgender women, they're more likely to experience violence in a relationship than are people who are born female, like a cisgender female. So we need to empower them. Also, we need, Mariel, you had mentioned earlier that men have a higher suicide rate than women, which is true. But we need to reach women in a way that empowers them and allows them to express their emotions in a safe way. Because even though men do have a higher suicide rate, women have a higher suicide attempt rates. It's just that the reason why men complete suicide more often is because they use more fatal methods than women do. So we need to find out what it is that's driving women towards these attempted suicides. Now, I'm very grateful that they're attempted suicides and that they were not completed. But we need to find a way to reach women and allow them to feel all that it is that being a human is. The good emotions, the bad emotions, and all of the experiences that all people face, but that we as women especially face. Harassment, sexual harassment, just being seen as lesser than our peers. We need to show them how to navigate that. And I think that one way that we can do that is through music. I mean, music is a pretty universal language, and there are women like Lizzo who is out there promoting body positivity through her music. There's this artist, Sarah Bareilles, and she has this awesome song called Armor, where she pays tribute to the women who came before us. And then this part always gets me teary because it's just so touching. She says this one line, "You think I am high and mighty, mister? Wait till you see my little sister." And that's in reference to us. Like, I'm significantly older than you ladies. It's my responsibility to change the world right now. So it's different for you. And then it's on you to change it so that it's different for the next generation. So we have to be women who are empowering women. And social media was mentioned earlier in terms of catcalling. When we see someone in the comments degrading a woman, we need to be in there commenting back. What gives you the right to say this? Can you explain your justification for this? Why do you feel a need to put her down? Like, we need to be in there defending our fellow women. When someone is, and pardon my language, but when someone's slut shamed, we need to call out the men and women who are doing it, because it's our body, it's our right to choose how we dress, how we present ourselves. And it's no one's business to tell us that we're not conforming to their ideals. I know that I've been in situations where one woman was like, "I wear more than that when I'm at home," because of a shirt that I was wearing that she deemed too skimpy. And I just said to her, well, it's a good thing you make decisions for yourself, and it's a good thing that I make decisions for myself, because if it was the other way around, we would both be unhappy. So I basically just called her out on her like, why do you feel a need to tell me how to dress? Because I feel that women especially have pressure on us to conform, and by her imposing her dress code on me, that it hurt me for her, because it told me that she had already subscribed. She was only a few years older than me, but she had already subscribed to this mentality that society put on her that said, okay, this is the way that you need to be dressed. And she was so firmly entrenched in that belief that she felt the need to push her ideas on me. And Mariel, you were talking earlier about how religion plays into this. And she did pull the religion card on me. Both she and I are Christian, and she turned it into a Christian thing about how she's a better Christian than me because she dresses more conservative. A person's religious beliefs are their own, and I don't judge other people as being better or worse than me, and I would appreciate if other people didn't do that to me, especially based on something like how I'm dressed. But also in terms of religion, and Mariel, you had talked earlier about colonialism, where my parents are from used to be a British colony. And yes, it is unfortunate that colonialism did force religion and some misbeliefs about religion onto other people groups, because in Christianity, God the Father chose a woman to have Jesus. So, and if you notice in the Bible, Mary didn't just get pregnant. She was asked if she was willing to, and she said, yes, I'm willing, use me. So Mary consented to that. Now we might argue, okay, well, Mary was about 13 years old at the time, so is that old enough to consent? In her culture and in those days, yes, at her age she would be married. So it is unfortunate the way that religion is sometimes played against women, when in actuality, God has shown favor towards women. And I mean, even with Judaism, like Jesus was a Jew, like in Judaism, if a mother is Jewish, her children are automatically Jewish. They're given that privilege, but that's not extended to Jewish men. Their children are not just Jewish because they have a Jewish father. That's something that, it's a gift that God only gave to women, but somehow through the lens of men transcribing religion, Christianity has been turned into something that can be seen as sexist, when really we've been given certain gifts by God that are not given to men.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Miss Janice. Those are very powerful and impactful statements. I really agree with everything that you said. It's very wonderful for you to share all of those with us. How about you, Miss Ariane? Do you have any answers with us? How do we give solution to the issues women are facing today?
Well, number one, what we need to do about to address or to solve these issues about women is, number one is to educate ourselves. What are basic human rights that every woman should have? And once we know and once we understand all of these rights, we can educate other people, especially young girls, especially women, what are rights in our society or in our community. And after all of this, once we shared everything to a woman, a person, or to everyone, or to relay a message, we can now raise our voice. we can amplify the voices of the voiceless, because nowadays most of us are very fortunate that we are living in a community that wherein men and women are now treated equally, or women have more opportunities, professional opportunities, compared to previous generations or previous times. And a way for us to do that, or to amplify our voices, is number one, our number one platform during this pandemic today is social media. And I'm actually doing this in social media, especially into my Instagram. My recent post, actually I post in threads, and the middle post or the middle picture in my feed are the ones with messages, or the ones with captions about how I feel about myself, how I wanted to address different issues about the women, or how can I help other girls or other young girls about certain issues. And that is our number one platform, social media. And I also do, one of my traits is I always comment or give positive comments to my fellow women, especially to my girlfriends. I said, "Yes, queen." With just simple tools, I can change their mentality, or I can change their perspective on how they view themselves, how they value themselves. And that is it. And lastly, once we amplify the voices, our voices, for us to be heard, and the voices of the voiceless, lastly is we need to educate the younger generation. Why? By simply doing this virtual conference or virtual panel discussion, we can actually educate many people, or especially the next generation, by sharing our story, sharing our adversities, and how we view different perspective and lives of the women. We are doing this. We can empower our generation. We can empower women by sharing our stories online, and by simply doing these small things, even just sitting there at home doing social media, so scrolling in social media, commenting and posting in social media. By doing all of these things, uh, we can educate the younger generation, impart knowledge to them, so that in the future we can live in a society wherein there is equality in all genders, free from gender norms, stereotypes, and stigma. That is all.
Thank you so much, Miss Ariane, for sharing your points of advice on how to give solution to the issues women are facing today. And that's indeed through social media at this time, because we're still in a pandemic, so in-person engagements are still, practically impossible. So we can still use social media as our main platform to reach out to people. Miss Leandri, it is your turn.
Okay, I have to say I agree with Janice with music in general. Music is very important to me. I love it like so much. And like she said, with a different artist, trying to empower women through music. And it really shows that a lot of girls really respond to that very, very quickly. Like even if you listen to the song Fight Song, or if you listen to the song You Say, because God always says that he made us perfectly in his image. And I think You Say is such an empowering song to women, because the lyrics goes as follow: you say I am love when I can't feel a thing, you say I am strong when I think I am weak, you say I am held when I don't feel assured, and when I don't belong, you say I am yours and I believe. And I think that we really need to take that song to heart. And I think more girls need to hear that song, because I think we just need to believe in ourselves and just believe in the power we have, because I believe it starts from the inside, and then what starts from the inside will show on the outside. And also, I would like to do a take on movies as well. If we watch movies, I think the majority we see male actors always having the dominant character. It's always like the lawyer or the doctor. It's always a male we always see. We don't really see a very wide representation of females getting those roles as well. And I think that a lot of the young generation, when they watch movies, they see that and they think, okay, so I'm going to do what that actor is doing, for instance, because because I know the younger generation, they remember what they see. So they will see, okay, so she's doing this, so I probably also have to do this, because they want to be just like the actor. But it shouldn't be that way. So I feel like directors should really broaden their aspect when they make movies, and maybe make it more inclusive in a sense of women can be leading instead of males, for instance. And then to touch on more of a solution base, I think that we should really support girls and women in crisis. There are a lot of females in crisis, like every single day, literally. And we need to open up our eyes and actually see that. And there's also a song, I'm not too sure who sings it, but I know I saw it on Disney, Legendary, and there's a couple of girls who sang it, and it said, the chorus goes, all I'm asking is that you open your eyes, do the right thing, don't give up the fight. So I really think that we need to open up our eyes and really see like the hurt, because sometimes when a woman goes pause, we don't know whether they're feeling happy or if they are sad, because sometimes we kind of hide that emotion when we are feeling sad. So we try to hide it behind a smile. So I really think we should really open our eyes and just look at people with an open heart. And then we need to mentor a girl close to home. So even if you take maybe 3 girls or 2 girls, even if or actually I would say rather younger girls, and rather help them grow up into the woman that they are supposed to be. Learn them about what it takes to follow your dreams, how to take charge of your goals, things like that, because a lot of girls need things like that. And I think exactly what Ariane said about social media and opening up a platform for women. Like in my case with my Her Story, which is actually going to rebrand tomorrow as Our Story, which Marielle will also be a part of. I think it's so important that we really share people's stories, and just show them that I'm not the only one that's going through this. I know there are a lot of people going through the same thing maybe I'm going through. For instance, if I have scoliosis, during my welcoming at university, I actually met someone who was also going through scoliosis, and I was so shocked to see that I was not the only one in that situation. So it was actually cool to see how when one can share their story, they really open up that space for more girls to share their stories. As well in South Africa, once someone shared their story about them facing with gender-based violence, a lot of girls actually started sharing their story, which I found as so inspirational, because I think girls really want to use their voice for good, but they just don't know how. So I think when we open a platform out to them and really help them through that, I think their voices will be heard in a better way. And then also, it would be nice to support female-owned businesses. Now, more than ever, entrepreneurship has really it's just like entrepreneurship is just now the thing with job opportunities, because I know a lot of people have been retrenched, a lot of people have lost jobs, and now they are jobless. So they are now opening up the space of entrepreneurship. So we should really support female-owned businesses, because they aren't really supported as much as a usual business would. So I think a great lot. And also, we need to use our voice to help keep girls at school. I know in some countries, not all girls can go to school, or some women are just kept in a confined space and they can't go anywhere. But mainly with school, young girls can't have an education, which is so sad, where we are I would say in certain countries where we as females have the opportunity or privilege rather to go to school and actually have an education, where we need to actually speak up for the rest of the world so that more girls can have an education and really learn about what it is to be female and what it is to really follow their dreams and more things as follows. And then I also think we need to show women that we care. I think a lot of people really look past that idea of, okay, so she's just a woman, she's just normal, she's human, she's fine. But we don't really know if she's fine or not, like I said before. So we really need to show that we care. And like Ariane said, how she puts positive comments like, yes, queen. I totally love that. And totally, we have to support females, whether it be on social media or in person. Like, even if you just walk past a person, like my mom is so good at it. Like, even if we're just at the shopping mall, for instance, she just open up a conversation and then she'll just be like, how are you doing today? And she has that confidence to do that, and I just love that. And obviously just compliment someone, like even if it's the smallest thing, like, hey, you look so beautiful today, or oh my gosh, I can't believe you're studying this, you're so smart, or anything like that. Really just opening up that space for that person, just so that they can feel worth something. Because I think when someone feels worth, then they feel like they can conquer anything that they put their mind to. And like I said before, earlier on in the first session we had, educating the younger generation. Now more than ever, we really need to educate younger teenagers now, because I know through my advocacy, when I go out to communities, and then I remember when I went to one of those communities when we handed out some food and actually had a chat with the young kids there. I spoke about gangsterism, even I spoke about the act of using alcohol and drugs, and I also spoke about gender-based violence. Even though they are young, they need to know about these things, because if they're not going to know about these things, it's never going to be addressed in the future. So I feel like we should really bring up topics like this in younger kids' lives. But yeah, that's my take on that question.
Thank you so much. And when you mentioned that it's not just music, there's also movies. Okay, I'm gonna promote this movie. I just watched it 2 nights ago. It's called 𝐒𝐿𝐶. It's available on Netflix. So
Mhm.
if you have Netflix, I encourage you, everyone who's watching right now, to check out 𝐒𝐿𝐶. It's MOXIE. It is a movie dedicated for all the women out there. It highlights all the issues we're facing, and actually everything that we discussed earlier is actually there, present at the movie. If you watch the whole movie, all of us can relate to it, and it's just so empowering at the end. Yes, Aryan, would you like to say something?
Speaking of music and movie, actually my favorite song as of now is Tomboy. It is entitled Tomboy by Destiny Rogers, and one of the lyrics there says that my mama said, "Go marry a rich man," and I was like, "Mama, I am the rich man." By hearing that lyrics, I was thrilled, and I was really happy that many women around the world are breaking the gender stereotypes about us should be just wives, should be mothers.
Yeah.
Instead, a lot of women are becoming a boss babe, a boss in a man's world. And speaking of movie, I just recently watched Raya and the Lost Dragon from Disney, which is a Southeast Asian princess. And the movie was all about restoring the balance of her community when all of the dragons were vanished in the world, and she restored everyone, every community in her place. And the fact that she have done it in such young age, I think she was just a teenager that time when she did that. And she restored balance, and she is a girl, and she replaced her father for being a leader in their community. She restored balance in their community, she unite them all, and that really speaks women empowerment, and it screams how powerful we are as women.
Thank you so much, Aryan. And lastly, to conclude our 2 hour long panel discussion. Wow. Okay. We've been here for more than 2 hours. All right. So, for the last question, here it is. what is your overall message to society and to the women out there? Miss Janice?
Well, with this year's theme of International Women's Day being choose to challenge, I think that my message to other women is to challenge every stereotype that you encounter, whether it's you that's encountering it personally or something that you're hearing about someone else. Challenge everything. The idea women can't play sports, why? Women aren't cut out for a certain job, why? And you'll find that when you challenge those ideas, there's no basis for them. So I would definitely say challenge everything. And on an interpersonal level, challenge yourself. If you think that there's something that you cannot do, prove yourself wrong, because there's nothing wrong with being wrong as long as you learn from your mistakes. So if you think, oh, well, I can't do XYZ, then challenge yourself to do it. And going back to something we were talking about earlier in terms of clothing, we're all pageant girls in this discussion. We've all faced this question. If you haven't yet, you will soon. Well, don't you think that pageants are sexist? Don't you think that swimwear competitions are sexist? When someone asks you that, challenge them. Why is it sexist? Because I actually find it quite empowering. It's me taking ownership of my body, choosing how I present myself, and going out there and showing the world, getting on a stage and showing the world, this is who I am. This is what I enjoy doing. Like, I'm an actress, so I enjoy putting on a show. And if I want to wear a bikini, I will, because it's my body. If I want to wear a one-piece bathing suit, I will, because it's my body. And then ask them, me choosing to be in a pageant or to compete in a pageant that has a swimwear competition, why is it sexist? It's only sexist because you view it that way. It's empowering to me. So I would say choose to challenge. Challenge yourself, challenge others when they push their beliefs on you, and challenge them when they push their beliefs on to another woman. Because we're all in this together. So you know what? Even challenge other women when they say that they can't do something or that women shouldn't do something.
Thank you so much, Miss Janice, for your message to all of us, the society, to the women out there. Miss Ariane, how about you? What is your message?
What I wanted to tell everyone or tell the society that women are a lot stronger than we think we are. Because in our lifetime, from adolescence to before 50s, we have this what we call menstrual cycle, right? We experience that monthly. And recent study shows that menstrual cycles or the cramps that we are experiencing every menstrual cycle every month is the same pain or the pain that we women experiencing during menstrual cycle is the same pain a person is experiencing when they are having heart attack. So that is how strong we are. And let me remind everyone that every one of us is here because of a woman. They carried us for 9 months in their tummies, feeling stressed out and everything. And once we have our own children, and or the parents, the present parents right now, or once we have our own children, teach our sons, teach our children, remind them that it is okay to be a part of the LGBT community, and rather than being rapist, being a sexual predator in our community, or being being the enemy of another gender. And we should also teach our children, especially young girls today, to be brave enough to take risk, because to be perfectly honest, all of us were expected to be perfect. Am I right? Um, we would rather go out back out, or rather than taking the risk of failing. And my message to all of the women out there, especially the transgender woman, grow and bloom as an individual that you wanted to be. Listen to your own voice. Never listen to what the society is dictating to you, because that is not their lives. That is your own life that we are talking about. And you are more than what you think. You are a powerful being. You are a member of the society that has been oppressed for a very long time, and it's now the time to speak up our adversities and our problems that we are experiencing daily in our society. And every time that you think that you are beautiful or you're not confident, always look in the mirror. Tell yourself that you are beautiful, you are worth it, and you have value. You are that bad bee, what we are calling. So that is it.
Thank you so much, Aryan, for your words of wisdom. Thank you. And how about you, Miss Leandri Matthews? What is your message to society and to the women out there?
Okay, so my message would definitely be, okay, before I say my message, I have to agree with Janice about challenging yourself. I feel it's very important to challenge yourself, because that's when you know I'm able to do something. You can't prejudge yourself before you do something. Say, for instance, if you want to play soccer, for instance, you can't prejudge yourself and stand on the field saying, okay, I can't do that. How are you able to put yourself through a situation if you're already prejudging yourself? So I think challenging yourself is very, very important. It's very essential in young girls' lives. And also about sexism in pageants. There's a lot of stereotypes when it comes to it. And a lot of people actually question me about pageantry and why I'm doing it. And I always say, well, before you say anything, I'm not just doing it because maybe I'm competing to be a model or something like that, but I'm competing to be a spokesperson. I'm competing for the voiceless. And I think one of the main reasons, or one of the reasons why I actually did the pageant, was because I really wanted to show girls that it doesn't matter what you look like, you are able to do the pageant. So because it's when you have the confidence, you allow other girls to have that same confidence. Because when I had scoliosis, I didn't want to do a pageant because I thought people are going to make fun of my skew hips. I'm going to be judged by it. But now that I was doing it, and it's really different now that I see it, and it really opened me up and just said, okay, wow, I'm actually creating a space for women to actually feel safe in. So I really love that idea that you mentioned, Janice. And then also what Ariane said about it's your life. So I always say it's your life, it's your choice. What you decide for yourself is what you decide. You know, you don't have to follow someone else's advice. At the end of the day, you know yourself, and you need to take on your own advice at some stage in your life. But otherwise, my message would definitely be the change you want to see in the world. And I know it sounds like such a cliche quote, and everybody has heard it, but it's so true. You know, we can't go through society with the same idea all the time. There has to be some change eventually. So I feel like girls should really be comfortable with change.
I think she disconnected while she was speaking. Is that right? Or all right, she's here.
Sorry again.
It's okay.
Okay, I'll continue. Like I was saying, be the change you want to see in the world, and just be comfortable with change. My next point is arise and shine, for your light has come, and that's actually in the Bible, and that's the entire logo I actually put with my platform for my program, Our Story. I think it's time that women really decide to arise and shine, because at the end of the day, they're living a life where they are able to shine and arise from the ashes, and that they are able to realize that there's a light inside of them that can come out, but they just have to allow it to come out. It's almost like breaking from their shell. It's almost like if you take a caterpillar and a butterfly. That caterpillar was small, it was always on the ground, maybe it was ignored or stepped on, but once that caterpillar really formed and grew wiser, it formed into a butterfly. So I believe that when we understand who we are, then I think we will let our wings fly and just understand that grasp of spreading wings and just shining your light so that the world can see. Almost like carrying a burning torch so that others can feel that light and feel the warmth of that light. And then also, women need to remember who they are. They are not just humans that can just be pushed around. You know, we are very strong as humans, I must say. Like, we go
Oh, she disappeared again, but I think it's due to her Wi-Fi connections. But so far, her statements are so powerful. I really love her quotations, the wise sayings. It's amazing.
I'm back.
Yeah, hi.
Okay, I'll try to wrap up. Also, you are able to rewrite your story. It's not about the beginning. That doesn't really matter. That already happened. It's about the end, okay? It's how you finish the race, because nothing big started big. You don't have to be beautiful to be a model. You know, if you look at the modeling agencies, everyone is so different. And I think that's so beautiful to see how women empowerment is actually taking place in model agencies without them even knowing, because it actually gives them a space to empower young girls saying, wow, that girl is like, you know, she's so different compared to other models, and, you know, she's similar to me, so I can also do it. You know what I mean? So I think just bringing that in and just rewriting your story and just knowing that it's how you finish your race. And then also remember that no one can define you except you. I think a lot of people, especially with society, when someone says something about you, you really take that to heart. And I think what 𝐂𝐐𝐄𝐍'𝐼 said, she said it in one of her posts where it says, she said, I don't know that person, and that person does not know me. And I think that is so true. We cannot judge a person or be defined by their opinions, because we don't know them, they don't know us. So why take it too hard? And then also, something my mom always said, when you respect someone, they will show you respect in return. And I think when we show respect to women, I think the world will just be a better place. And just fall into that space of just worth and just lots of unconditional love. That's my take on the answer.
Thank you so much to everyone for all of your message, your advice, as well as your sharing of stories and experiences earlier during the first part of our panel discussion. Once again, thank you so much to Ariane, to Leandri, and Miss Janice for sharing and for being here with us tonight for this, wow, 3 hour long, 3 hour long panel discussion, everyone. So far, this is the longest panel discussion here at PrimoModeloTV.
In the
3
record.
hours, but you know, it was so worth it. Everything was so worth it. Hearing each of your insights, your experiences, even if we're from different places, you know, there's always that present connection. And in a way, through this discussion, it brings us all together, and that makes it even more meaningful, knowing that we can all relate to it. We can all somehow say that, oh, that happened to you. I think I have a similar experience as well. And with that, we were able to, you know, bond more and create that bond with each other, wherein that we can say, even if the world is divided by land, we are connected by heart, you know? It's not just about us being separated physically, but if we interact, it's as if we're all just so near each other. Like, if you remove the screen, all of these lines, and just like all of us here together, it's like we're having a casual talk at a cafe. And it's so amazing. So once again, thank you all so much. And to Miss Mia Gusi, do you have any learning experience, learnings and reflections?
Oh my God. Now that I'm listening to you guys, it's there's only 3 minutes left and we are here for 3 hours. Actually, Mariel is right. Of all the of all the interviews have gone here on Primo Modelo TV, this was the longest. And for me, this is the most inspirational, empowering panel discussion and interview as well. And for me, Marielle, Ariane, Leandre, and Miss Janice, I'm so thankful that you guys have shared your thoughts, your advices, your tips, and the things, the opinions that you have. Though I know we are under the age of 20, and but that doesn't mean we should be invalidated because of our age, because just doesn't mean that other ladies who are older than us have more valid reasons and opinions to be shared with. But I am happy. And also from South Africa, our Mr. Glam International first runner-up 2019, Sir Mawande Keke, he says, you break the record of the longest panel discussion. All right, I agree with that. And also to Miss Sally Tapas, she says, congrats to all. That was a productive discussion. I totally agree, madam. And as well as congratulations to Mariel Prion, our Miss Teen Glam International, to Ariane, the Miss Teen Glam Philippines, second runner-up 2020, Leandre Matthews from South Africa, the Miss Teenager South Africa finalist 2020, and the one and only Janice McGregor from Canada, the Miss Regal World 2020. You have all done a beautiful discussion this evening, and I am so proud of you guys. My learning is gender roles, gender description is not based because I am a woman, I cannot do that. I am a man, so I cannot allow women to do this and that. That doesn't mean. And the things that I learned from Janice, Ariane, Leandre is that we should be equal, and we can do all these things with helping each other. So that's all, and I congratulate you guys, ladies. Happy Women's Month. Back to
Yeah.
you, Marielle.
Thank you so much, Miss, for sharing your learnings with us. And once again, thank you to all of our panel speakers for joining us today and tonight, from around the world. Thank you. It's currently 11 p.m. here in the Philippines, so very late at night now. And I know that all of you there, you're just getting your day started. And
It's
for
only
us,
9 a.m.
but that's okay. This was a meaningful discussion. It was so worth it. And we're kind of
Yes.
used to staying up late at night, so this is just casual for us. We're
Oh,
used to
well,
this.
I would like to add up before we conclude and end this live panel discussion, ladies.
Go ahead.
Marielle, Ariane, Leandre, Janice, I have one more question for you guys. And you have to answer this because it will be a question that should be relayed to all the men out there around the world. All right, what is your message to all the men, the boys out there in regards to being us as a woman? Let's go first with Marielle.
Oh my goodness, why me? Just kidding.
If you have any rants or advice, tips, message, whatever you'd like to tell them right now, they are listening. They can go back, rewatch this live. What would you like to tell them, all the men out there?
Wow, okay, wow. Well, first of all, to all the men watching right now, I hope we're not here to offend you or to rant or, let's say, belittle you in
Great.
any way.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're not here to do any of that. We're just here sharing our experiences as women, our encounters and struggle in society. So to all the men watching right now, we're not doing this to you. It is not something to do with you. It has something to do with society in general. So to all of you watching right now, all I could say is respect, love, and care for all the women out there. To all people of all genders, really. I'm not just speaking for women, but for all genders. Because when we define again feminism, it's not just about equality or pointing out inequality between men and women, but I want to point out that feminism is all for the members of society, even if you are from LGBT, if you are a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. As long as in the end, what matters for all of us is that we care, love, respect, and understand each other, no matter our standpoints and experiences in life. So I hope that you remember the fact that I actually have this video with me. I watched it earlier. And during this interview, a girl asked a guy, "What can a man learn from a woman, or what can men learn from women?" And I think this was a pageant question in Miss Universe, if I'm not mistaken. What can men learn from women? And the common answers were, what men can learn from women is that we are nurturing, we have this natural way of caring. But through this discussion, if you were to answer it in a different way, for me, I would say is, what can men learn from women is that a human being is not just programmed for one thing to do. We're not just here to do the exact same thing every single day. That your expectations are always the same, because a woman, we are complex. We have a variations of emotions, because our bodies are designed actually to create the reason why we are going all through these hormonal changes, through all of these mood swings, is not because we want to, but because it is a part of who we are. And since it is a part of who we are, having these monthly periods and all of these changes with our bodies, actually, the main thing that I got from all of this is that what makes us women so special is that our bodies are naturally designed to create life, It's so special. And the fact that it's being judged, it's being criticized by so many people, for me, being a woman is so special. And just like what Miss Janice said when she mentioned about how special a woman is for God, and also in Judaism, and what did she said again? Judaism, right? Is it? Or
Yes,
yeah.
Judaism.
Yeah, and when you mention those, all I could say is really we are living in a society that is socially constructed, that can always be challenged and redefined. So I'm asking all the men out there, if you're watching this right now, and to those future viewers, maybe tomorrow you'll watch this, to all the men out there, all I could say is um, we are all equal, no matter who and what we are, our gender. We are just as capable as everyone else. And to me, to be a man and to be a woman, it means working together. We're not here in society to dictate what you can and cannot do. Because actually, if you redefine and reframe the question, what can we do together? If we bring the efforts and the talents and skills of a man and a woman and of all genders, if we bring all those skills together and we work hand in hand, then I think society will be a much better place to live in once we recognize all of our abilities into one. So that would be my answer, Miss Mia.
All right. Thank you so much, Mariel. Okay. And next, Aryan. How about you, Aryan? You are at a very young age. You represent the teenagers out there. But what opinion, what message would you like to give to all the boys out there, especially those who are the same age with you?
For all those guys, men, males out there that is watching right now or would watch this on a future basis, we aren't here. We aren't here to step up and we aren't here stepping up for us to be the higher species, for us to be higher in the society. We are here just sharing our stories and our adversities that mostly every woman experience all around the world. And just like what Mariel said, res- men should respect us and understand us because we are going through a lot and we are expected to do more things in our homes, in our workplace, or in public. And we you should respect us and understand us because women aren't the only part. I mean, men aren't the only part of our society, but our society is also consisting of women and other genders such as the LGBT community, right? So the key is always educate yourself, respect other uh respect other people, especially us women who are being oppressed for a very long time, and understand our situation. That is that is all.
Okay, thank you so much, Arian. And I hope those boys who are watching out there, especially the same age with us. Anyway, how old are we? All right, I'm going to give you. We are on our teenage years and 20s, in between and below. So okay, let's go next to Leandre Matthews. What is your message to all the boys out there?
Okay, so my message to all males who are watching this or who will watch this in future, hopefully, you guys should definitely tune in. But I think my message would definitely be learn to stand up for women. Don't be afraid to stand up with us. Because it's just like the title actually says of this conference, Stronger Together. If we can all unite, we can all be stronger together and we can actually break these stereotypes one piece at a time. And then also, do not judge a woman for what she is or what she does. Just learn to understand, like Ariana said, understand our situations and where we come from as women. We all have different backgrounds. We all do different things, or we all go through certain situations. So learning to understand what we go through, I think will maybe open up the topic a bit more and actually educate you on a broader level, if I can say it like that. But otherwise, just stand up with us and let's just unite as one.
Yay! Congratulations and thank you so much, Leandre. That was a wonderful message to all the men out there. And last but not the least, Miss Janice MacGregor.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to start off by saying that I hope I did not come across as offensive, because tearing down one individual man does not build me up, and tearing down men in general does not build up women. So that's definitely not the way I meant to come across, if I did come across that way at any point. I guess my message to men and boys is the same as my message to women and girls. Let's just be the best version of yourself. So always keep learning. When you encounter something that makes someone, male or female or anywhere in between on the continuum, uncomfortable, ask yourself what you can do to empower that person. And as the theme for this year's International Women's Day is choose to challenge, always keep challenging yourself. And I know that, okay, I'm not a teenager and I'm not in my 20s, but I myself have learned a lot from you ladies today. So I want to thank you ladies for your input, because as I said, empowerment is a lifelong process and growth should never stop. And I really appreciate you ladies sharing your perspectives, because that gives me something to think about. And reevaluate my thoughts and see where I stand on certain positions now that I've heard other people's opinions. So thank you, ladies, for inspiring growth in me, as well as I'm sure in the other viewers who you've raised thought-provoking questions to. So thank you, ladies, for that.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Janice McGregor. That was a wonderful and inspiring message. You know, I just want to conclude this message, my question and answer from them, these beautiful ladies, Leandre Matthews, Mariel PRION, Miss Janice, and Ariane. Okay, my message to all the guys out there, no, let alone the women out there. To all the guys, I hope you are watching, and if you happen to pass by this panel discussion, I hope you understand that we ladies and you guys are also have the same thing. We have one same thing with each other, is that and that is we have conscience, we can respect, and we can love. So to all the men out there, there's nothing to lose with yourself if you try to be respectful to all the women out there and stand for women, not stand against the women, because you know we're not gonna win this without being what do you call this, pulling each other down, but we need to push each other, and also this can go with the husband and wife thingy. You have to be partners. That's why there is no beyond, there's no above, but there is an equal partner with each other, correct? And that is, we should be balanced. And I would like to thank Mariel, Janice, Ariane, and Leandre. I've learned so much with this panel discussion, and I'm probably going to rewatch this live. And also to all the viewers out there, thank you so much for patiently watching, tuning in to Primo Modelo TV, the Queen's Conference, Stronger Together, hashtag Women Empowerment. And I hope you guys a happy evening this Sunday and a fruitful new week next week. So back to you, Mariel.
Thank you so much, Miss Nia. And once again, to our panel speakers, thank you for joining us. Even if we lasted for 3 long hours, we're all still here, we're all still here, and still full of energy, you know? And again, as they said, this was the longest panel discussion and interview here at Primo Modelo TV so far. I think we just broke the record for that. So
Congratulations to all of us.
Really all enjoyed it, had a great time, and we learned so much from each other, and I hope that we could have more activities like this in the future, but with different topics from now on. So thank you so much, and God bless.
God bless everyone, and goodbye. Once again, my name is Nia, and
I am Mariel PRION.
and
I'm Ariane ABARIDES.
and oh yes, they're loading. And
Oh, is she frozen? Oh,
yeah,
and
she froze.
I'm Janice McGregor.
And there we have
I'm
Leandre
Leandre Matthews.
All right, and we are the Queen's Conference, Stronger Together, hashtag Women Empowerment. God bless everyone, and good night.
Thank you, everyone.
And happy birthday, Mia.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Janice.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Birthday.
Thank you, guys. God bless you all.
a mix of emotions.